In this video, I'm going to just try to give you as much detail and history as I can to give you as much interesting perspective on this particular arrangement. So right off the bat, this little chord sequence is something that goes back to my high school years. A friend of mine was taking guitar lessons from a gentleman who did shows out in Las Vegas. So this first, I'll say, these first four measures are what I remember from high school. So that was a long time ago. So E flat major 7, and these pentatonic chords, and then just a regular C minor 7th chord, F, E diminished 7, F minor 7, F minor 7, and then this note here. So a lot of times I'll slide up to that. Okay, and then these 3-note voicings here. E flat 7. So our C minor 7th, D minor 7th, but there's no 5th in those chords. Okay, so then these chords here I'll spell. So 4 3 4 4 3, 3 2 3 2 4. This is the same as the first chord. 2 1 2 2 1. 1 open 1 open 2. Okay, so I'll play the whole string of chords again slowly, just to kind of get the feel for that. So this is the intro. Artificial harmonics here, so I'm just tracing out the chord, same frets, 12 frets higher. Now what I like to do here oftentimes, because B flat and E are tritone apart, so they're tritone substitutions, so some kind of B 7th chord or some kind of E 7th chord are kind of interchangeable. Okay. Okay, an E flat major 7th chord, and like a B flat minor 7th, but I'm going to add the 9 on top, and an E flat 9 chord, but I'm going to add the 13 on top. A flat major 7th chord, major arpeggio. Okay, now we're going to do minor 9 here, A flat minor 9. Okay, I'll do that again. So that's going to have like a different kind of line cliche. Instead of going, I'm just going to go from 6, 5, major 7, and then right to the D flat 9, 13. Here it comes. Okay, now the second time I'm going to do this melody, I'm going to be harmonizing it in different ways, and I'll try to break that down. So instead of playing this chord, I'm going to play a G minor 7th chord. So if you think about it, there's only really one note difference there. So you can maybe call that, an E flat 9, major 9. So okay, and now here, instead of playing those chords there, I'm going to play exactly the same chords right here. They're the same notes. To this chord here. So by playing it this way, rather than going like in the intro I went, okay, I can take that same shape, this I would call this a minor pentatonic shape. Right, so F minor, G minor, C minor. So I can go something like, and I can go fall off to that. Okay, now here instead of playing the E diminished seventh here, I'm playing it here. Same notes, equivalency. So I talk about that a lot on my different videos, learning equivalencies. And then here's that minor 11th chord or pentatonic. And then we're back to how I played the intro. Okay, so before I do these next couple chords, because I do change it, I'll go ahead and just play through the first like 1, 2, 3, about first six bars. Okay, so kind of slow. I could just play those same set of chords that I played for the intro, which I'll do that again. Play some arpeggios. And then I could throw in that low E if I wanted to. So what I decided when I wrote this arrangement many years ago, I just decided to do something a little different. So I'm just going to keep this G on top. So I'm going to play a G13. Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to have a descending bass line. Now, interestingly, what's happening is if you compare the first bass lines with that one, it goes D flat, D, B, B flat, down chromatically. These are the tritone subs. G, they're just tritones. Okay. So G13. Okay, then this chord here, a G flat 13, flat 9. Okay. Okay, that's the F13 with the 9 on top, the 3. Okay, and then this chord here, open. So you can call that kind of a 13 sharp 9. So if you look at the inner voicing here, it's a very, very common in jazz to have something staying static and something change. I'll do it again with just the inner voicing. So that would sound really good if like a horn player was playing the melody or you know soloing or whatever. There'd be a nice set of chords. So I'll play that whole thing now. So what I found helpful here is because of the complexity of these chords, I found it helpful to just do a full bar here. So. Now there are discrete fingering, and then this is just. Now these next two chords are a little tricky. These are coming from the diminished scale, so I don't want to get into like too much music theory. But if you take any chord from a diminished scale and you raise the note a whole step, it's still diminished. So if I took this chord, for example, B flat chord with a B, and I add, or C flat, added this note, then that would essentially be functioning as some kind of B flat chord, 13, and flat 9. So I'm playing this chord, and then this is just a pretty standard voicing. So you see how this chord here and this chord here are kind of related to each other. So I could have gone, which I do later on in the arrangement, or I could have gone with this chord and moved diminished. But listen how this is a kind of a weird sounding chord. Actually, I'm kind of liking it there. So, and then to my next variation of the E flat chord. So the actual string of chords here, I'll play those without stopping this time. what I've decided to do here is to do some an inner line there. Okay, now here I'm going to, instead of doing regular minor 7th, I'm going to do kind of a pentatonic chord, so like a B flat minor 11th. Okay, so now this part of the arrangement, I tried to really fill it up with a lot of chords, and this is something I learned from one of my mentors, a guy named Dave Klein. And Dave suggests that when you're making an arrangement to really fill it up with chords. So that's what I decided to do in this section here. D flat major 7, G half diminished, E7 flat 5, D flat 9, and then that same A flat major 7 from. Now I wanted to get kind of edgy here, so this is a move I do a lot where I go from major 7 to major 6. But what I'm going to do here instead, so I'm adding in that D, which is kind of that Lydian sound. So da. And then here I just threw in the open string just to give myself a little bit of breathing room to this next set of chords. So F minor 7, A flat major 7, the C minor 11, which is just, so you can think of the minor, whenever I say minor 11, you can just think of that as some kind of piece of a pentatonic. Okay, and then this chord right here. So this is kind of like if you took a major 7th chord, and I'm just lowering that, so you can call that flat 5, or I like to call it sharp 11. So that's kind of a Lydian sound again. All right, so let me go back to, I'll go back to this thing here, and I'll play the next 4 bars. So far, so then we got this. The next time through, so this is another thing I kind of got from Dave, my teacher. So rather than just doing the line cliche the same, like where you're always going, okay, which is fine. Go right to the major 7th. Okay. So I go doo doo. So major 7, minor major 7. Minor 7, okay, and then here rather than going to a 9, I'm going to this 13 flat 9. So I'll talk about that a little bit. So a lot of times in jazz you can, because there's so many dominant 7th chords, you can add and subtract alterations. And sometimes it's just a question of just experimenting, or what I find is usually helpful is if you think of what key you're in, you can almost always add a note that's in that key. So for example here, so for that 9 I could add, for that D flat 9 I could go E flat, or I can add the D, because D is in the key of E flat, because Misty's in E flat. So rather than doing a big chord like this, I decided to just play that part of the chord. Okay, then here, rather than doing diminished like I did before, this is just something that I just kind of discovered by accident. I don't even remember how I got to this. Right, so I just doing a chromatic approach to that G minor, so the G minor 7th chord. So rather than going da, I could have gone to the E flat major 7. I could have gone to G minor 7th, but I'm just keeping this B flat pedal. Okay, and then this is going to be exactly the same as the intro. Okay, and this is going to lead into the bridge. So I think what I'll do, I'll play this, the little part leading into the bridge. So this is just a E flat. Okay, so what I decided to do here, rather than playing, I could have played an E flat 6 chord but I'm going to play the B flat and the bass. Okay, then here, this is a G chord, G trio with the B flat and the bass. So I'm kind of thinking that as being being like a diminished sound. So that's almost like going like E flat, B7, B flat 7. So E flat, B flat. So diminished tells us that I can theoretically use any triad, a minor third away to represent that B flat 7 chord. So what I came up with when I was creating this was to use the G. So that's kind of a type of B flat dominant chord. Okay, so and then resolving to that. Okay, I think I'll just, at this point, I'm just going to play the whole first page of the arrangement up to the bridge. I might add a little bit of embellishments, maybe around the arpeggiating around the held chords. So here we go. I like to do those fall offs a lot too. That's just, something I picked up. I think took some lessons with a piano player, Arthur Goldstein, a local guy, and from State College, and he seemed to like that sound, so he would encourage me to put that in. I guess on the piano you can do those fall offs also. Okay, so then leading into the bridge, I'm just gonna play the melody with octaves. E flat. Alright, so you're on an E flat. I just ended off on like an E flat 6/9 chord. Interesting. This melody is just E flat major pentatonic. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay. So here I'm going to do kind of a line cliche here. By line cliche, do 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 do. So you hear that a lot in jazz, in some pop songs like Oye Como Va. And so on. Okay, so B flat minor 7, B flat minor, but with the line. I'll do that again. I think I messed that one up. Okay, so okay, here we go. Minor 7. Diminished. So diminished for that E flat 7 chord. Okay, and I'll explain this a little bit. So this is a favorite chord I like to use, A flat major 7th, A flat C, E flat triad, and then I'm reaching for the 3rd and the major 7th. So then as I was playing this chord in different arrangements, I thought, well, what am I going to do with it? So I eventually came up with this move where I just took those 2 notes here and moved it down. So that gives me like major 7th. Okay, then it's kind of like a 6/9, and then and it just gives me some nice melodic movement to do on that A flat major 7 chord. And then to a 6/9 chord. So whenever you hear me talking about either minor 11th or 6/9, just realize that is a pentatonic chord. So A flat major pentatonic. So any of those notes can be used for either A flat 6/9 or some kind of F minor chord, the relative major minor. Okay, so then the next octaves. Okay, so interestingly there, so the first time that melody is over an E flat major 6/9 chord, E flat major pentatonic, E flat F G, E flat C, 1 2 3 5 6. The second time on this A flat chord, it's an A flat major pentatonic, E flat F, A flat B flat C. So 1 2 3 5 6. Okay, now this chord right here, this is right. So it's an A minor or A minor 11, A minor sus. Okay, so there's different things you can do here. This is kind of a tricky chord to grab sometimes. If you want to go, right, so I'm using the open A, which gives it a nice fullness. Then if I wanted to hold the whole chord, you can do like a hinge bar here. So this is kind of a tricky chord to grab. Okay, so I'm just hinging here. Okay, and then from playing with, I play with a upright bass player for many years. I found that I didn't always want to put a big bass note on this. For the D7th chord, I'm just going to use the top 4 strings. Right, so I could have played a bigger chord there, but I just wanted a little bit different sound. Okay, and then I think I'll stop there. I'll just play through that part of the bridge, because then I get into a little bit more arpeggiation and a little bit more complex chords there at the end of the bridge. So let me get into this. I'll do like the last 3 chords leading into the bridge. Okay, and that's going to lead into this next part. So in these turnarounds, there's any number of things that a real sophisticated jazz player will play. So what I decided on here is I'm going to do a pedal tone off of this, following you. So my chord choices are going to be G half diminished, then E diminished 7th, and then I'm really big proponent of adding in open strings whenever I can. Okay, and then the F minor 7 but 11, and then this was just kind of an interesting chord. It's not too bad to grab here, E, so it's an E 7th chord, and I'm adding that B flat on top, so you call that sharp 11s. Okay, so I'll just play the chords by themselves, and then I'll add in the arpeggios. Alright, so then the devices I'm using here, I'm just going to do a little arpeggio in the middle. Okay, then on the E diminished, I'm just going to do an arpeggio here. 10, 13, 11, 9, 12, 11, 9, 12, 9, 11. So you got the diminished. ascending F minor 11. I'm just putting, you know, a couple arpeggio notes, and then on this E7 sharp. Okay, so this is essentially a whole tone scale, so a whole tone chord. So what I decided to do is I'm putting in a whole tone run. This is just something I discovered years ago. I think playing Take the A Train or something like that. Well, what can I play on that second chord? So I came up with this. So any number of fingerings that will work. I'll just use a simple fingering. So I'm going to go, and I'm just going down in whole steps. And then I get this kind of gnarly chord here. I'm kind of thinking of this as some kind of E7th chord, dominant, and I just do a really quick kind of back rake. So you can kind of think of that as a whole tone chord also. If you take the notes of the whole tone scale, E, F sharp, G sharp, B flat, C, D. So you have your 9, your 3rd, flat 5, sharp 5, and then flat at 7. So that's what this is. So I kind of think of that as kind of equivalent, whether it's an E7th or whether it's some kind of B flat 7. All right. So then the fingering that I like to use here on that run, I like to use 4-2-1, 4-2-1, and then just very offhandedly. Okay, the next two chords I'll talk a little bit about. These are chords I've used in some of my arrangements. I call this the Joe Diorio chord, 5, 6, 6, 7, 6. I got this from a Joe Diorio Guitar Player magazine article from many years ago, Joe Diorio. Okay, and I call this the Ted Greene chord. This is one of the many chords that I got out of Ted Greene chord chemistry, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8. So that one's kind of interesting because it's kind of like the Hendrix chord in the middle, right? E7 sharp 9, but then you have the B flat, and then it becomes like a 13 chord, B flat 13 chord, and then you have the flat at 5th or raise, and then that leads into this chord here. Right, that's just an E flat, kind of like the chord I used before. So E flat major 7 with the G, 9, and then I'm just throwing the G in the bass. So what I was trying to do here is I was trying to get an interesting bass line. So that's the idea. The idea with that chord. All right, so let me play up to that next A section. So I'll come in. I'll just come in on these octaves. Section. So whenever I write out these arrangements, a lot of times I'll write out things that I'm not really that familiar with, like this little run. This like I don't really have any other arrangements where I go. So that was just something I invented. I invented for this particular arrangement. Okay, so now the second time I played this, I did the inner line. So on this time, I do the bass line, and I found it would be nice if I could maybe keep that chord ringing, but I just found that too difficult, so I just went here. Okay, this is kind of like the first time. Yeah, so B flat, E flat major, 9, 13. Major arpeggio. just a D flat 9 with the 13 diminished. Okay, and then this is, I think this, yeah, this is exactly like the intro. Okay, and then I'm going to go, this is going to be my turnaround back to the beginning. Minor 9, B flat 13. Okay, now here's an interesting example. So I'm on a B flat chord. So what I chose to do here is I'm going to take advantage of that low E string. So I have, okay, notice how I'm just kind of let that, okay, and this is another example of that diminished chord, diminished movement. So what I could have done here, that's kind of interesting, going down to that chord. Let's see how that resolves if I go here and then go to yeah, that could work. Okay, okay. Let me play through just that from these the Joe Diorio, Ted Greene chords to the end of the arrangement. So here we go. Takes us back to the beginning. Okay, so now what I'm going to do at this point, I'm just going to jump into the coda and kind of break that down a little bit. So after you go back and repeat the whole thing, or you can just, if you wanted to cut it short, you can just go back to the bridge. Would work also, either way. So I'm going to come into the coda. All right, that's the same move I've been doing the whole song. So then I'm going to go to a G minor. Just a G minor 7th chord, and then as much as possible I'll try to hold that chord and then just do like a G Dorian scale run. Yeah, and I'll do a lot of different things there if I'm playing it live. And then I'm going to go to the C chord. So it's kind of like a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. That's the principle there. So G minor. Okay, so here I could have gone to that. I'm just going to go to kind of a cliche, just taking this diminished 7th chord and running it 3 frets at a time. So 2, 5, 8, 11, 14. Right, so that's the whole run. So I'll just do those 2 chords. Okay, F minor 7. Same chords. Okay, now this little ending here, I think I learned this from the sax player, Steve Bowman, excellent sax player. He taught me this little set of chords: B flat major 7, E flat major 7, sharp 11, and then resolving to the E flat. So then what I decided to do in my arrangement, so for the B flat, for the B major 7th chord, I'm doing what I call a 5th finger chord. So 7, 8, 8, 7, and then I'm taking my first finger and I'm going from 7 to 6. It just takes a little bit of practice to get that, but it's a nice sounding chord. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do just a really simple run based off of a B major scale symmetrical pattern. So I've talked about this in some of my different videos. All right, so that's the pattern I'm playing at. So just to make it more interesting, I go 7, 9, 7, da, 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 da. So I just. and that's the whole run. And then just to make it more musical, I might change it rhythmically, or add some hammer pull-offs at my discretion, something like that. All right, so that's the basic run I'm going to do there. Okay, and that's going to lead into the E major 7 sharp 11. So that's going to be the 1 chord and the 2 chord. I'm sorry, the 1 chord and the 4 chord from B major. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a B major scale descending. Okay, but I'm just going to do it in thirds, just a very standard kind of scale thing. So just a scale in thirds. Okay, so now the tricky thing that happens here, and this was just kind of dumb luck when I came across it. So as you're coming down this scale, so the third of the B major happens to be the E flat. So that was I just kind of stumbled upon that. So E flat major is 6/9, and then a lot of my arrangements, if you've been following me on YouTube, I do these artificial harmonics all the time. It's kind of like my own signature. So I just kind of like that. I kind of like that sound. So I'll do. Okay, and then the other thing I like to do is hold that chord and then just kind of strum across artificial harmonic. All right, so that just takes a lot of practice, or some people will do like a tap. Okay, let me do the whole. Let me do the coda now. Just kind of like almost like more of a performance. Okay, so now to end off the video, I'm going to just play through the whole thing and maybe add some other improvisations. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful and I broke it down enough that you can learn from this and then make this your own arrangement. Okay, and I'm using a gliding over pick 3 of 50 timbre tones.